To highlight a very special volunteer. This is Mr. Willie Brown. He's from Orangeburg, and he has been volunteering, he says, for many, many years, so many, he can't even keep up. But Mr. Willie, I want to say thank you, one, for being here this morning, but just talk about why you choose to volunteer every year for families helping families.
It's a lot of fun. I enjoy coming out because it helps to give back to the community, to give back to someone that's less fortunate.
Breaking news into our newsroom this morning, Lexington police are giving us an update about an overnight incident off of Two Notch Road. Well, here's what we know right now. Two Notch is closed between Smith Pond Road and Calks Ferry Road after an incident involving deputies and police. Again, Lexington officials are telling residents to expect delays, and they're urging you to use an alternate route. A press conference being held this morning at Round Hill Fire Station on Two Notch Road. Let's take a listen as to what the chief and the sheriff has to say. A national course focused on African American studies and history will no longer be offered in South Carolina public schools. Now state education leaders are facing demands from students, teachers, and others to reinstate the course by next school year. Our Mary Green has the latest. And I'm Intisar Faulkner. Yeah, you guessed it. Another hot day in store. That's not a typo behind me. These heat indices and feels like temperatures are real. Meteorologist Tony Chivaroli has us covered with our forecast this morning. Tony, talk about it. It's going to be hot.
It is. It's just been so impressive the past couple of days.
Born in Maysville in 1875 to former slaves, Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune was 15th of 17 children. But little Mary never imagined she'd go from picking cotton in the fields to becoming an advisor for President Franklin Roosevelt and to found one of the first black colleges in the country. As a kid growing up, I was pretty active, but one skill that I'd never learned how to do was to swim. And after years and years of sitting on the shallow end, I decided that it was time to learn. Take a look.
Legs, arms, legs. Wow.
And with a few more lessons, I think I'll get the hang of it. I want to be a pro soon.
That's right.
Welcome back. Fentanyl trafficking has become a growing problem in South Carolina, and overdose deaths continue to increase.
In tonight's Health View, our Intisar Faulkner shares more about this epidemic that is claiming lives right here in the Midlands.
One of those lives was Justin Smoke. He died from an overdose linked to fentanyl poisoning. His mother, Janet, sat down with me to share more about her son's struggle with addiction. And she's pleading for parents to talk to their kids before it's too late.
Thank you, Dad. I'll see y'all soon.
I love you.
I love you too, Mama. Stay safe.
Okay, you too.
Yes, ma'am. I will.
Janet Smoke didn't realize that was the last time she'd see her son, Justin.
If there's one thing I could go back and tell him now, I would say, Justin, don't die on me. I didn't know about fentanyl during those times.
The 24-year-old died from an overdose 2 years ago, and Janet says that her family is still trying to cope.
I'm starting to wrap my head around the fact that grief doesn't go away. It's that our body heals over time. And we learn to live with that grief and to carry on life in spite of the grief.
Now, she's left looking back at memories of the son she once knew.
He was my little happy-go-lucky boy. He liked to play jokes. He liked to make people laugh. When I think of my young Justin, that's what I think of. The boy that smiled a lot.
But Janet said once he hit middle school, things changed.
That was the only thing that I noticed that was different, was that he wasn't smiling. He had a lot of anxiety, and he also suffered from depression. I did take him to see a doctor, and he was diagnosed with ADHD. And he was prescribed medication, but he did not like the way it made him feel, and it was difficult to get him to take it.
And the problems escalated in high school.
That's when he started having more severe trouble, not just in school, but with the law.
Janet said Justin visited rehab a few times, but nothing seemed to get through to him.
That was the only thing we knew to do, was to get him help. He was our son. You know, he needed some intervention. And they did tell us there, if his behavior didn't change, he was on the road to becoming an addict, which is ultimately what happened.
In his later years, Justin told his mom his vices were Xanax and Percocet pills.
I begged him to go to a doctor, and he actually said, I want to do that, but they label me as drug seeking.
And the fear of stigma isn't uncommon.
Like any other disease process, people need support, they need family, they need friends. They also need healthcare professionals, but the stigma, I think, is a barrier for treatment, and it keeps people from wanting to come to the doctor.
Dr. Jared Stone, an ER physician at Lexington Medical Center, says overdose cases have doubled since the start of COVID-19.
I've been shocked. There are so many people in Lexington County alone each month that pass from overdoses. The vast majority seem to be attributed to fentanyl.
In fact, one study showed 1 out of 20 people that come to the ER after an opioid overdose are dead within a year. And fentanyl is up to 50 times more potent than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine, and has been introduced into a number of other illicit drugs, including anxiety pills. Dr. Stone says, like Justin, it's very common that someone is absolutely unaware that fentanyl is in the drug that they were using.
Fentanyl can show up in anything. My son did not ask for fentanyl. My son did not ask to die.
Janet says she often thinks back to that night, wishing she'd known what she knew now.
Talk to your parents, even if you don't think that they understand, which they probably don't. I didn't. But talk to your parents. Family is everything. And it's been a tough 2 years, but I'm starting to find my voice. And I want to be the voice for my son.
For Health U, Intisar Faulkner, WIS News 10.